the role of postal banks, which are often, state-owned, if not state-run. If you could maybe give a bit more detail on that in terms of where you'd like to see the foundation, partner with others around that, and then in terms of the SEEP community, what would be a potential role in working together with you regarding the role of government?
Couple of comments. One is that most of the exciting stuff you see with postal banks and the like, government-owned organizations, are actually sort of franchise arrangements or concessional arrangements, or even sometimes privatization, where those aren't typically administered by the government staff in their usual, least efficient possible way. They're really the kinds of innovative arrangements for management and operation and connectivity and partnerships, affiliations that are driving the best forward. So when I say that we need to work with governments, what I mean is that the governments actually own a lot of this and either control it through regulation or through ownership. And the only way to make this available for us in our community is to work with government to convince them that a franchising arrangement or a contract or something of that sort serves their purposes, serves our purposes, helps them put profitability into that branch network or that retail network that right now is probably losing money. And so instead of shutting it down, can they work with us and we can put some throughput there to which a small fee can be attached and keep those things open. It's really a partnership. I think that the key word for the future is sort of partnership. It's connectivity among our kinds of institutions. I think a lot of times I've been viewed as being sort of anti-NGO. I think the point is that everybody needs to find their roles in the future. And the NGO has one comparative advantage in all of this. It actually cares about a certain class of people. And that's probably its single biggest strength. It cares and is going to keep going back to that class of people over and over and over again and finding out stuff that works. Not many other people care the same way in the whole chain. And so as your role evolves and you move from being a direct office, a supplier of a service to organizing a service to connecting people with services, whatever it is, you are the reservoir of the mission. Okay, and that's the most powerful role of all, is to keep returning focus onto a group of people. As all these sets of partnerships and relationships work for increased specialization, for increased financial efficiency, for decreased transactions costs, but your role remains central in organizing all of that, keeping the eye on certain target groups that otherwise would probably, they're hard to serve. That's why we care about them, right? Anyway, it's a much more fluid sort of view of what our role is than the kind of classic, we build it, we do it, we are all of it.
We have two more questions, and then we'll close this session.
Hi, Bob. Sue Dorsey from Friendship Ridge from neighboring Evergreen, Colorado. My question is around impact. One of your last slides, you mentioned the importance of impact. Do you see the Gates Foundation actually putting some of the resources into measuring impact, since as an industry, I think we're, on your scale of 1 to 100, we're still pretty low in terms of understanding how we measure impact in terms of poverty alleviation, and whether that might be a focus.
Yeah, we're definitely putting money already into impact measurement on grants we've made. We're looking at, we've got money out in research facilities that are looking at the impact of financial services, the way financial services work in poor households. We're trying to sit down and figure out what an appropriate matrix would be that would define sort of levels of impact measurement, monitoring, understanding with different kinds of clusters of projects. So maybe doing a lot more with the insurance cluster than we might do with a microcredit cluster, trying to figure out, deeper questions about what that product